All right, guys, so I'm going to talk about 4 common mistakes you guys might want to try to avoid when you're trying to get cinematic footage using a cell phone. Tip number 1 will be shooting in full auto mode. Like, I just don't do it. Like, I can never achieve this type of look shooting in full auto mode. It's just not going to happen, right? So it's important that you have some type of third-party app to allow you to shoot in full manual mode, or basically to have control of all the settings in your device. Me personally, I'm using Motion Cam Pro. I used to use Filmic Pro, but we all know the issue with Filmic Pro at the moment. The Motion Cam Pro app allows me to shoot raw DNG files, which is very comparable to my Canon EOS M with Magic Lantern. It's just the files are way more intensive, they hold a lot more data and a lot more color. Number 2, the most important thing that you possibly also want to do or try to avoid is make sure you have control of your shutter speed and your ISO, controlling how much light hits your sensor, right? This is important because this really helps you to get that look. The movies that I watch tend to be exposed on the left side. What do I mean by left side? Of the histogram. On the left side of the histogram, we have shadows. On the right side, we have highlights. I like to be a little bit more on the darker side versus the high side. You watch a lot of Hollywood movies that are like comedies, they tend to be exposed a little bit brighter versus a Blade Runner or a Harry Potter, a sci-fi or something like that. They're a little bit more on the darker side of the histogram. Personally, I like underexposing my shots. I like to lean towards the left side, towards the darker side. One way to really control that is by shooting with the lowest ISO as possible. Whatever your shutter speed is, should be matching your frame rate. So if I was shooting, typically I shoot in 30 FPS. A lot of people say 24 FPS or 25 is cinematic. Yeah, that's right. But I like to do 30, so it gives me options to slow stuff down just a little bit. So I typically do 30 FPS with a shutter speed of 60, basically half, double. 30 times 2, whatever, is 60. And then I keep my ISO as low as possible depending on the shot and trying to keep my subject in a nicely well-lit exposed shot. Now I use this ND filter, this variable ND filter, to control how much light is hitting my sensor. Again, as I turn this, it gets darker and it gets lighter. So this is something that's very important to me to really help me get that cinematic look. Another thing that you want to basically avoid is full auto white balance. Don't do it. Just get away from it. Set your white balance. For example, in this shot, it was cloudy and a little bit sunny. The sun was coming in and out. So we were going from cool bluish colors with shadows in the cloudy situation to a little bit warmer colors when the sun will peek out. Now, if it was set in full auto, my camera is constantly adjusting the blue color and the warm colors. So I set mine to full manual white balance. And what I do is, I knew it was going sunny and cloudy, so I set for more what it was, more cloudy. And then what I do is I'll shoot this quickly on shot, get about a couple of seconds of this. So this is going to help me white balance my shot. I got a white card, I got a black card, and I got a 50% gray card. This just helps in DaVinci Resolve to set my white balance. Again, I will set for a cool shot. So from shot to shot, I will kind of just pop this in the scene really quick like that. And then I can use this in post to select the white balance and basically get a good white balance for that scene. But if you're shooting in full auto, it's constantly moving. So you won't have a good white balance set if you're gonna start doing some color grading or doing a stylized look. So shoot with full manual white balance. Another thing to avoid is just shooting boring shots. Standing up right here holding the camera, everybody does it. It's nothing special. Mix up your angles, get low, get close to something, dirty up your frame, have something in the foreground just a little bit. I tend to always remind myself, how can I add something in the foreground of this shot? If my subject is over here, how can I add something just off screen here closer to give some more depth to the shot to make it a little bit more 3D? Now you can't do it on every shot, it might not be possible, but is any shot that you possibly can put something in the frame closer or farther away to add some depth, do it. It really does help to get that cinematic look. If you watch a lot of Hollywood movies and a lot of TV shows, there might be something in the foreground just slightly off screen, slightly out of focus to really just portray that depth, to give us more depth, because technically TV is a 2D, two-dimensional plane. We're not watching TV in 3D. So give us as much depth as possible by having things in your foreground, middle ground, background, just that really help take your video or your shot to another level. And another tip that I want to give that, I'm always trying to work on this. Try to tell a story with the footage that you shoot. Every YouTuber just goes out, I got this new hot camera, I want to throw this really cool color grade on it and just get random shots. That's all it is. It's just a random shot video. Try to shoot and practice telling a story. You know, what I just showed you here is I was going to our New Year thing where we take our old New Year charms like from in Japan here, and then the following year, we take the old ones and we burn them, and then we take the smoke basically to try to help pure and clean this up for the next year. And I was trying to get the whole, the whole process and telling the story of it, other than just running around, just getting some random shots, trying to make a story out of this. And it's not easy to do, but it's something you should always practice doing whenever you shoot a montage or you want to take a bunch of clips and put them together. Try to tell a story. Don't think like a YouTuber, think like a Hollywood director. Right? And the same thing with your shots. Think more like a Hollywood cinematographer as far as movement. What kind of movement would Robert Deakins put in this shot versus Peter McKinnon because he's got the new DJI whatever gimbal, right? Think like those guys, not so much like our favorite YouTubers. And another tip here, the final one, possibly, like, you just need to repeat, rinse, repeat, whatever. You just need to keep filming. You got to do this over and over and over and over to get better. I've been doing it for so many years now. There's certain things that are just second nature that I automatically know. Like, I automatically walk and I want to film something, I grab this ND filter because I know this is what I need to get the shots that I want to do. You got to practice, you got to keep doing, you got to fail a whole bunch of times before you really start getting your footage the way you like it, the way you want to shoot it. You got to keep doing it over and over and over. And a lot of people don't want to hear that because they want it now. But hey, nothing comes now. Your favorite YouTuber, your favorite cinematographer, they practice their thing over and over and over to get to the point where they're at now. So you have to do the same. So if you want to see my whole workflow on how I took this with the Motion Cam Pro app, take a look at this video and it's going to walk you through from start to finish to what you see here on how I was able to achieve that using the Motion Cam Pro app. If you're new here, consider hitting that like button and subscribe and keep filming. Patrick LeVar. Peace.